Hi, welcome back to Align with Ali. Today we're just going to be doing a nice restore and strengthen reformer workout. This routine can be as light as you want it to be, or you can make it as heavy and as hard as you want it to be, but the goal is just to feel restored, lengthened, and have a bit of strength as well by the end of the class. So I'm going to start on a blue and a white spring, just for a little bit more resistance. So a medium and a light spring, or you can just go to one medium spring. And then we're just going to step off to the right of the machine so that our right foot is beside the foot bar and the left knee is on the carriage. Hands are going to come to the bar to start. And we're just going to start by sending the carriage back with the left leg and reaching into that right hip for a nice hip flexor stretch on the left side of the body. You're just going to breathe and hold. You can work in and out of that range of motion as well if the stretch gets too strong. But our focus here is stretching out that left hip flexor and that left thigh and quad. You're reaching that carriage back just as far as you feel comfortable. Again, coming in and out when that stretch gets to be really strong. And then you can take your left hand and reach up and over to get into the left side of the body. And you can bring that carriage back in and out. So you're pressing away into that stretch. You're reaching up and over. Taking your breath along the way with you. Breathing at a pace that feels good for you and your body. Maybe deepening that stretch each time. We're going to do 2 more like this. Again, you're welcome to hold a bit longer. Good, coming back in. You're going to send that carriage away again. Now from here, you're going to press the floor away with your right leg. So coming into a split leg position. Finding a comfortable spot so you can lift those toes up if you want to get deeper into the stretch. And again, working in and out of this range. Now if your knee is getting sore on the carriage, you can put a little pad, a little towel, anything to give you some comfort there. You can bring your hands down to the rails. If there's too much resistance, you can take off a spring. Good. And then you're going to come back in. We're going to go right to the other side to make those hips and hamstrings feel nice and even. So now left foot is against the foot bar, right knee is down on the carriage, and you just start by sending that carriage back, getting a nice stretch through that right hip flexor and thigh. And again, you can either just stay down in a hold, or you can bring that carriage in and out and work into a deeper stretch each time. You might notice some differences side to side. One side maybe being a little bit more restricted, maybe feeling a little bit tighter. The other feeling a bit looser. When you're ready, you can start adding that arm reach with that right arm now. Sending that carriage back, reaching up and over. And in. Feeling this all the way through the side of your body. can do one or two more, whatever's feeling good for you. And the next time you go down, you're holding and you're straightening out that left leg. And this leg seems to be a little bit tighter here, so my tolerance for a deep stretch is definitely lower than the other side. And you're just working in and out as tolerated and as comfortable. If you're working on your splits, this is a great exercise to do. And then just one or two more here. Lovely. I'm going to switch my springs to a red and a blue. Now you are welcome to make this heavier by adding a white spring or the lightest spring just for a little bit more tension, or you can go to 2 heavy springs. You're going to stand up on your carriage, feet and ankles walked all the way back to your shoulder rest. Light grip on your bar. You're going to shift your weight over to your heels so that your ears line up with your armpits. You're going to pull the abdominals in. And from here, you're pressing from the back of the leg and under the bum. So the arms aren't doing any work here. It's all coming from the back of the leg. And then the carriage returns, your bum still reaches behind, and you get that nice hamstring stretch. This is one of my favorite exercises. And what's nice about it is you can play around with your hip rotation. So it feels more comfortable to rotate out a little bit at the hip, so toes pointing away. You can try playing around with that. Or you can keep your feet parallel. And again, just going at a nice, comfortable pace. I want you to really enjoy the stretch. And remember, you're not pressing with your hands. So if you can notice, my fingers aren't even around the bar. And this just kind of helps me tell my body to keep those arms still, not gripping too hard, and allowing the lower half of my body to initiate the movement. Again, if you're not feeling like this is a strong enough stretch, you can switch your springs and add more tension. Good, we're going to do 3 more full range of motion movements here. Last 2. And last one. Beautiful. And then you're going to come down to kneeling. And from here, we're going to take the springs to, I think, 2 red. If 2 red feels too heavy, we'll go back down to a red and a blue. So 2 heavy to start, and then we'll kind of reevaluate, making sure the bar's all the way up. Bum's in the middle of the carriage, so you're sitting on those heavy sitting bones. Toes on the bar, heels together. Your goal is to be as tall as you can. You're really pulling in through the abdominals. Hands are going to come outside of your feet. You're going to press and reach. And then you come back up to sitting. So again, at a nice, comfortable pace. Breathing. Exhale into that stretch. And inhale to come in. If you need to adjust where your bum is, feel free. Still staying grounded on those hip bones, those sitting bones. Trying to keep those shoulders down and away from the ears. And then you can play around with foot position. So we were just externally rotated, heels together, toes apart. But now you can bring those feet parallel and do a couple repetitions here. So really feeling this in the back of the leg. You can even add a bit of an extension through the chest when you come up, a nice stretch through your back, and then you round forward into that stretch. And then you bring the carriage in and reach your collarbones up. And stretch. Good, one more. And then you're gonna bring those heels together again, toes apart. Arms are gonna come to that ballerina position. Soft through the neck and the shoulders, soft through the elbows. Heels stay relaxed down. You're just gonna press, straighten the legs, and come back in. So if you need to adjust your springs here, if too heavy springs is feeling like too much and your butt gets pushed back all the way, maybe go down to a heavy and a medium. Just really work on that deep core activation here. You might even feel pelvic floor pulling up. Now the next time you press away, you're going to rotate and then come back in. Press and rotate and come back in. Good, staying as tall as you possibly can. One more each side. We come back in, hands come outside the feet, one more stretch here to end off. Beautiful job. And then from here, we're just going to get into a bit of comfortable footwork. So you can go, as heavy as you want. I'm going to go do 2 red and a blue to keep it comfortable. So 2 heavy and medium. And then I'm just going to lay on my back with my headrest up. Finding a comfortable position for your head. Getting heavy through your tailbone so you're not feeling super shoved up into those shoulder rests. Chest is wide. Feeling that your hip bones are level with your pubic bone. Pulling in the deep abdominals. So if you imagine a string between those hip bones, you're tightening that string to bring those hips closer to midline. We're going to start with heels on the bar, about hip width apart, toes up and back, hands by your side. And just going for a little press. Stretch the legs all the way, and then slowly returning all the way down. We really just want to keep this comfortable. I want you to feel the range of motion through your hips, through your knees, feeling a burn at your ankles, allowing yourself to bring your breath into it, pulling your abdominals in, keeping those ribs as heavy as you can. You're allowed that small space in your low back if it's there. And as you work through this movement, I want you to think about initiating from the glutes and the hamstrings. You'll feel the front of your leg working as well, but really draw your attention to the back of the leg. Try not to rush through the movement at all. Quality over quantity here. Time under tension. Pressing through the middle of that heel, really activating the back of the leg. Again, if this isn't enough tension, you pop on up and you add more springs. Good, as we come down, we're going to bring our right leg into tabletop, single leg press with the left, return the carriage down, bring the right heel to the bar and we switch. And you're just going to carefully go back and forth, making sure to return the heel down after the carriage is closed. Trying to control each movement and each transition. And of course, keeping that breath fluid. Feeling the burn build as we work into some single leg footwork. We chose a spring for both legs, but now we're challenging ourselves to work through some single leg work. We have one more each leg. And then you're going to press up with both legs. Standing tall, you're just going to walk your feet down the bar and then back up the bar. So giving your foot a little bit of a massage. being careful that you don't slip. I've got a nice pair of non-slip socks on. And maybe just stepping where you feel like you might need that extra release in the foot, mine being my arch. And just again, walking up and down. And then you're going to walk down when you're ready so that your ball of the foot's in the bar, toes wrapped around. And just starting with a bend at the knees. This is where you're going to feel more work through the front of the leg. If you have any knee pain, you can walk your foot up so your arch is on the bar for now. Or you can lower your springs. Trying to keep those ankles and heels relaxed under the toes. Keeping your pace slow and steady. You're going to stretch your legs long. Hold at the top, you drop the heels under for a stretch, you press away with the ball of the foot to pull the heels up, 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 and then you slowly return under the bar. Really try and pull the heel up the leg. You're going to feel the burn creep up the leg. Up the calf. And then you can start pedaling the feet, so dropping one heel, holding for a few moments before you stand tall and switch. Really enjoying that deep stretch. Isolating each leg separately. Again, maybe noticing some differences side to side. I'll do one more each side. And then you can finish off with both heels under the bar. And then when you're ready, you can bend those knees to come in. From here, I'm going to stay on a 2 red and a blue, so 2 heavy and a medium. I'm going to take my arches to the bar. We're going to go into a nice articulating bridge, so I just really want you to feel the heaviness through your feet. Hands by your side for support, chest is wide, heavy through the back of the shoulder blades. You're turning those abdominals on, but you're tucking your tailbone, and then you're going to start curling the tailbone and peeling each vertebrae in your back off the mat one at a time. And then you're reaching through the thighs, you're opening the hips, your tailbone is tucked as much as you can. And then you slowly layer back down one vertebra at a time. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, you curl. Your goal is to keep the carriage still. And if this is feeling too easy, you're welcome to take off springs to make this harder. But I want this to feel comfortable. I don't want this going in your low back. I want this to feel like a nice spinal massage. Now, if you feel like you're kind of scrunched up to your foot bar, like your knees are too far into your chest, you might need to adjust your stopper so that you can maintain a still carriage. If your legs are really long, you're naturally going to have to push out a little bit. So my stopper is all the way in, but you can move your stopper back to help with this. If you're feeling good about this, you can always bring your hands up to take away some support. Again, choose the option that feels best for you today. Really feel the stretch in the front of the hips. Feel the activation through the glutes, through the hamstrings. We're going to do about 5 more here. 4. You got 2 more. And then this last one, we're going to hold at the top. We're going to hold for a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly come on down. Bring your knees to your chest and just sway side to side. And then you're just going to slowly come on up. And you're going to switch the spring to one right spring. We're going to grab our straps. Make sure they're not twisted. And then you always have the option of staying down on your heels, or if you're feeling good about your balance, make sure you're tucking your tailbone, bringing those ribs over those hip bones if you choose to come to a tall kneeling. From here, we bring our chest wide, shoulders down, and we're just going for a nice slow press. And I want you to imagine pulling from right at the back of that armpit and the back of that shoulder. So keep the chest wide. Make sure that you don't pull too quickly because your body will fling forward. This one is all about control. You can exhale as you pull and inhale as you return. Again, keep reaching that tailbone down to the floor. Something that's nice to add on to this to kind of release any tension in the neck is as you press back, just a gentle look to the left and then release, come to center. Little look to the right, release, come to center. If that doesn't feel good for you, you can just continue to look straight ahead. Again, you want to keep this pace slow, controlled, make sure those ribs aren't flaring forward, tuck them in. I want you to feel the work in the back of the arm here. Go for 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then we come to a sitting position. Now, if this doesn't feel good for you, for your knees, just come to sit on your bum. From here, we're just going to do, it'll be a light row, but a double arm row. So squeeze those shoulder blades and then slowly return. So we'll start with a double arm row. Again, this is going to feel light to start. You are welcome to add more springs here. Just want you to get used to this movement. Elbows stay bent, ribs tucked in. Squeeze the shoulder blades. When you feel like you got the hang of this movement, you're going to start to alternate. So you're going to pull back with one arm, reach in the opposite direction with the other, and then come back to your starting position. The key is that you're reaching in opposition. So the arm that's in front of you is pressing forward, and the arm that's behind you is squeezing back. So I don't want to see any floppy arms forward. I want you to still stay energized through both arms, even though one is going slack with the strap. You're looking back to the direction that you're rowing and you're adding that rotation. So it's essentially a bow and arrow, but now we've added resistance. If you feel good about this and you want to come to kneeling, you're more than welcome to, but just be careful of your balance and of your pace. Now, if this resistance feels like too much, you can drop down to a blue or a medium spring. We've got one more each side. And then we're just going to place the straps down, shift the body forward, hands come to the rails, knees against the shoulder rests, going into a nice cat-cow here, rounding the spine, tucking the tailbone. And then you're going to find your middle. So I'm still on a red spring. You're welcome to go down a spring or add more springs to make this harder. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips against the shoulder rest. You press through those shoulder blades. We're just going to go for 10 carriage pulls with the knees. Looking down. You could also pull yourself to the back of the carriage for more tension, or you can hover your knees to make this harder. We're going for 5 more. Last 4, 3, 2, last 1, and when you send that carriage back, you widen the knees, and you reach for your child's pose. And then you're going to come back up. And you're going to hook your straps onto your little hooks or your shoulder rests, whatever you've got. And you're going to add a blue spring on here. And you're going to lay back down. Reaching your hands straight up, tailbone heavy, legs and tabletop. We're just going to go into a little bit of arm work. Hands in straps. Stopping those hands right over the shoulders, pulling from under the armpits, pulling those abdominals in. You're reaching long through the fingertips or the knuckles the whole time, whether you have a closed grip or an open grip. Making sure to keep the knees over the hips. Make sure they don't come in towards you as you pull the arms down. We're going to keep this arm work pretty basic today. I want you to focus on your form. Now if this feels easy, you're more than welcome to add springs. This class is really nice to go over the basics, but add more tension and work towards that perfect form while changing that tension. Keep your breath moving. Arms come down by your side, you pause, hands turn in, arms come out to the side, and you pull down. We've got 4 more. Last 3. Last 2. And then last 1. And then you can bring your arms up. Bring your feet to the foot bar. We're going to put our feet in straps next. Again, I'm still on a red and a blue, but you're welcome to go heavier here. Keeping the tailbone nice and heavy, we're going to go right into leg arcs. Pulling from under the bum, back of the thigh, making sure not to feel strain through the back of the knee. If you do, just add that micro bend to your knee. You're going to go down, arc those legs down. You're going to make half of the smile of a smiley face. You pause halfway and you bring the legs back down and up. So half a circle. And then the next time you go around, you're going into a full circle. Keeping that bum as heavy as you can, making sure you're not pulling from your low back. Pull those abdominals in the whole time. Challenging your range of motion without compromising the form. And then reversing that circle. Beautiful. Bringing those legs up, pulling on the straps to get into another hamstring stretch. To isolate one leg at a time, you can bend one knee and pull the other back and kind of just pedal your legs, seeing how that feels in the body, or you can stretch both at the same time. Using the straps to assist you here. You can work into a happy baby, another stretch that I really love to do on the reformer. And then you could also go into a Peter Pan type of stretch, but just try and stay grounded through the hips and use those straps to kind of help deepen the stretch. And you can just switch side to side. Again, holding as long as you need to, feeling for differences side to side. That side's definitely tighter. And then gently pulling your feet over the straps. And coming on up. We're going to a blue spring, and I'm going to grab my platform extender here. I'm going to bring my foot bar down. I'm on one blue spring or one medium spring. You're welcome to go lighter for this exercise, but as always, be careful. Whenever you're stepping onto the reformer, you want to step on that stable part first. Foot comes to that platform extender, and the other foot to the carriage. If you don't have a platform extender, that's fine. You don't need one. Chest back, shoulders down, and we're just going into a nice inner thigh slide, keeping that tailbone reaching down and long the whole time, pulling in with the arches of your feet to feel this all the way up to your inner thighs. This is just meant to be comfortable. If you want to bring your arms to the side, you can, or you can just keep them by your side and your hips. So you're heavy on the outer part of the feet. You lift the arches to help feel that activation. And again, if this does feel too easy, you're going to want to go on a lighter spring. Making sure that your butt's not poking back either. So pulling in the abdominals, staying as long as you can, even if it means not pressing out as far. Keeping your breath fluid and moving. Good, just a few more here. Last two. And last one. And then you're going to come down to kneeling carefully. So I'm going to recommend stepping off. I am going to recommend dropping down a spring because I think a blue is going to feel too easy. Again, if it's a blue okay and you don't want to drop down to a lighter spring, then do not. So knees are going to come to the carriage in the platformer center. You're tucking that tailbone. Same movement, but in a kneeling position. So it's going to feel different. It's not going to feel as hard. Still pulling in the abdominal, maybe challenging how far you can go with that carriage while still being able to bring it back in. Still pulling in abdominals. Imagine having suspenders on. You want to pull those suspenders tight to bring your ribs over your pelvic bones. Beautiful. And then from here, you're just going to bring your hands down, and you can bring them to the floor if you're comfortable, and we're just going to enjoy a stretch here. You're just gonna go into a comfortable stretch. You're not gonna force anything. You can kind of come in and out if you need to. And then coming all the way in. And then what we're gonna do next, we're gonna go back to that first spring setting we did, standing. So I'm going back to my blue. Don't forget to change your spring. And you're going to step off, one foot on the platform, one foot on the carriage, tucking that tailbone, and going into your inner thigh slide. Growing tall. Remember to keep those arches lifted. Good, we're going to go for 4 more. Last 3. Last 2. And then last 1. And then you're gently stepping down. You're changing your springs if you did for the other side. You're kneeling. Same thing, same idea. But it'll feel a little bit different. Good, and 2 more, we're just going to go down into that stretch that we did on the other side. So you're sending that carriage out, and it's going to come down to the floor, and you're just holding. This is helpful if you're working into that middle split, especially if you're a dancer. Now, if this doesn't feel comfortable, you just skip this part. That is totally fine. From here, I'm going to stay on a weight spring, and I'm going to keep my platform extender on. My forearms are coming to that platform extender. My toes are against the shoulder rest. I'm just going in and out. I'm supported through my shoulders. I'm feeling those deep abdominals turning on. Now to make this harder, you can come onto your hands and off your knees. But I'm going to keep things comfortable today. Still feeling the shakes. Making sure you're not arching and sinking through that low back. I know it's hard to tell when you don't have a mirror, but try to feel for it. If you feel any discomfort in your low back, maybe adjust how far you're going away with that carriage. We're going to hold as we press away, and you're going to press forward and back with those arms for 10. If you need to go back to a medium spring, you can change it. We've got 8 more. 7, 6, last 5, 4, breathe through it, last 2, and last 1. You're pulling that carriage in. You're going to start with a child's pose here. You can just shift your body side to side, widening your knees as much as you feel comfortable. If any of these stretches don't feel comfortable, you can lay on your back and come into just a nice butterfly stretch or a figure 4 stretch. From here, you're going to take your right leg, bring it forward onto that platform extender, and just send that carriage back. So we're going into a pigeon stretch here. You can come down to deepen that stretch. You can bring the bar up to assist you as well. Getting through the glutes, and then you can bring that carriage back in and switch. Awesome job. Thank you so much for joining me for another Reformer workout. I can't wait to bring you more very soon. Don't forget to like my page, subscribe to my channel, and comment below and share with your friends.